This is a 13 Weather Impact Alert.
Hi there, everyone. Good Wednesday evening to you. I'm 13 on your side, Julia Gorman, joined by meteorologist Blake Hansen. We're doing this little bit of a stream update for you once again, just because some more, more snow is coming in. Thankfully, we are a bit warmer, than this time last night, but more snow and looking a little bit different than the snow we've been seeing.
Yeah, the last couple days, Julia, it's been a combination of the cold and the snow.
Right.
But now mostly tonight, and really throughout today itself too, it's been all focused on the snow.
Yeah.
And it's piled up for many of our lakeshore communities, especially in the heart of Muskegon, places really north of Grand Haven. That's where we really have seen the snow take over, and we're starting to see the snow pick up in intensity once again and starting to become widespread across West Michigan, now starting to pick up in places that didn't see much snow throughout today. This is a live look at Muskegon, and if you're watching in Muskegon County, you've seen snow all day long. It has really piled up. It's still falling here at this 9 o'clock hour, and now the view in Holland. Holland's kind of avoided a good chunk of the snow today, but they're starting to pick up on the snow as well. I want to get into snowfall totals. This is what we have right now in terms of snowfall from just this morning. So we're talking not yesterday, not the day before, just this morning to now. And these are some of the reports that have trickled in. Some people are going to be probably watching this stream, Julia, and they're going to be screaming at me saying, I have more than this on the ground. If you do, if you have a report of how much snow has fallen in your backyard, on your driveway, on your porch,
let us know.
Let me know. We would love to have that, because then I can tell the National Weather Service, they can feed that in, make it verified, and it makes everyone happy at home. And so Whitehall, 10 inches of snow. Shelby, that should say Oceana County, not Shelby. It should say Oceana County, 9 inches of snow. Wolf Lake, 9 inches of snow. I also had a report in Twin Lake of 14 inches of snow since this morning as well. Didn't get into the graphic just yet. But of course, we have seen at least a half foot of snow from roughly that Grand Haven northward extent up the lake shore.
And that's just today, as you
just
were mentioning.
today.
That's not all the other snow we've had for like what feels like forever.
Meteorologist Colton Woods, he lives out in Fruitport, and he's probably got a good 18 inches on the ground right now. And he's picked up he's going to give us a snowfall report at 10:30.
There we go.
Tonight. He's excited to give this next snowfall report. He picked up in about a 5-hour stretch from roughly about 10 this morning to about 2, 3 in the afternoon, 6.5 inches of snow.
Wow.
Yeah, it really came down for a few hour span earlier this morning into the early afternoon. In fact, I kind of want to go to this time lapse here in Muskegon. I'm going to put this back to about 9 o'clock. There we go. Yeah, this snow really picked up around 10 o'clock, and then it was just ongoing all day. It let up slightly as we got into the late afternoon, early evening. It was still snowing, but a bit lighter. And notice right about there, starting to see it pick up once again. And even here in Walker, we are starting to see snow pick up once again just outside of our studios. And that's going to be a theme throughout this evening into tonight. So let's get into radar. There it is, Walker right there. You can see kind of some snow picking up if you look at the lights there. Yeah, there's definitely some snow falling, and kind of notice just on 96 there, that's the roadway on the left side of the screen. It was kind of clear earlier today, not too bad here in the greater Grand Rapids area. Starting to see that become a bit more snow covered.
And, I want to point out, too, we're seeing a little bit more of the road. We weren't really seeing the road the first half of the week at all. We're starting to see, the black of the pavement make an appearance again. But, don't let that get you too excited out on the roadway. Still want to be a lot of caution, taking it really slow.
Yep.
You never know when a slick spot is there that you can't exactly see, or your tire's hitting it, you don't think you are. So really, of course, as we're getting this additional snow tonight, really still being careful.
And that's the thing, too, is that while temperatures are much warmer than this morning and by far yesterday at this time, we're still well below freezing.
Yeah.
So
snow's not going anywhere.
Snow's not going anywhere. Roads are going to remain icy, especially as the snow picks up across the board. But this is over the last few hours. So notice the snow is a little bit I wouldn't say disorganized, but lighter in intensity. And over the last couple hours, at least since about 7 o'clock, we've seen an uptick in the intensity and also the coverage of the snow, which was mostly focused on the lakeshore, Ottawa County northward into a bit of Newaygo County. Now this is starting to pick up into Kent County as well. Again, I'm going to really turn up radar here to kind of focus it on where some of these heavier snow bands are. And you can see stretching from Holland, even just a little bit southward in the far northern, northwest extent of Allegan County, up into parts of western Kent County, Walker, Comstock Park area, Sparta, starting to see those darker shades of blue. That's indicating some decent snow reaching the ground, and then this extends all the way back up to Muskegon, Oceana, into Mason County. What does happen is you get a little bit to the farther north, Ludington into Baldwin, the radar beam actually overshoots some of this lake-enhanced snow. So while, here in Muskegon County, it looks like there's a few breaks in there, we had a camera at the Muskegon Luge. Yeah, it's still coming down at a good clip.
They've got good snow there for sure.
Oh, they're happy at Muskegon Luge.
They needed this a couple weeks ago, and now it's here.
Yeah, they're really happy about that. But in terms of what's going on, there's kind of the camera turning. Let's see how
see those piles.
There we go.
Up.
Yeah, you can really see the flakes in the light. That's a better look right there. But as we go back to radar, this is what's happening right now. We got kind of a twofold in terms of why the snow has really picked up today. We talked about this yesterday. We have a clipper system approaching. So from a larger scale perspective in the world of meteorology, we're getting support from this clipper system. Warm fronts passing through. We got a cold front that's going to sweep through the area as the night goes on. So we got what we call synoptic support. Well, we also live off of the lakes, and we call this smaller scale or a mesoscale support because of Lake Michigan. The wind has been out of the south and west because of the influence of this clipper system, and that's how we get these defined lake effect bands or lake enhancement bands. And each wind direction favors different parts of West Michigan because of what we call the fetch over the water. And all that fetch means is that as that moisture is going across the lake in a certain direction, it's picking up, enhancing the moisture that's evaporating off of the lake, and then as it goes over land, it dumps it as lake effect snow. And so off a southwest wind direction, that's what targets places such as northern Ottawa County, Muskegon County, Oceana, into Mason County. And off a northwest flow, which we'll see tomorrow, that usually favors these areas right here. Holland back towards Kalamazoo, Allegan County. So each wind direction favors a different part of West Michigan.
We have some folks asking about Allegan specifically as far as what they're going to see or are seeing now.
Yeah, they're going to see some snow really pick up over the course of tonight. So let's get into it. Hour by hour forecast. So here it is. We'll see the snow as that cold front of the clipper system starts to approach. Notice how the snow kind of widespread. This is going to start to swing into the rest of West Michigan over the course of tonight. You might look at it and be like, oh, it seems like it's falling apart. No, I think this is going to stay pretty widespread through tonight, hold its act together. And notice how as the cold front comes through, that's going to orient the wind back to the north and west, and that should target in due time as tomorrow morning goes on. Kind of go back here. Notice those bands coming off of the lake in a northwest flow, impacting southern Allegan County, or I should say southern Ottawa County into Allegan County, and then into northern Van Buren and Kalamazoo County because of that wind direction changing the orientation of the lake effect bands. So if you're watching from Allegan County, do I think you're going to get 10 to 12 inches of snow? No, but I do think that you'll get a few inches of snow as tonight goes on, and even maybe additional couple inches as Thursday goes on because of those shifting bands. Eventually, everyone will start to see the impact snow go away on Friday, but in terms of snowfall, this is through just before daybreak tomorrow. I think this might be a little conservative in terms of snowfall. Again, this is just a model run that we're looking at, but easily 2, 3, 4 inches up and down the lake shore, even extending inland into the greater Grand Rapids area, a few inches of snow. Of course, is that major for us, a few more inches, but on top of what has already fallen.
We already have, right.
Yeah, for those that have seen a fair amount of snow today, that's a big deal. And for those that even haven't seen much snow today, while this isn't screaming big time snow amounts, still, that's going to just further the tricky travel that we've been contending with since the beginning of the week.
We still haven't quite caught up yet just because it's such an enormous task and we've seen so much. And, we know the road crews are out there working, but it takes time. Obviously, with the really cold temperatures we have, salt really not a helpful tool. Hopefully that will improve as the week ends. But right now it's just scraping all of that, ice and snow off the roads, which is time consuming.
And this now goes all the way until tomorrow evening. And again, this is just one model that we're looking at, but it's done a pretty good job today alone. Just showcasing that there's the broad potential that there will be several inches up and down the lake shore. And notice it does give that sweet spot into Allegan County, as tomorrow goes on. So again, for those that, might be watching from Fenville or Douglas or even Allegan proper. They haven't seen much today. I think you'll still get your fair share.
You'll get your dose.
Yeah, and that's going to be the case even here in the greater Grand Rapids area. Even if we only pick up another 2, 3, we'll say upwards of 3 inches of snow by the end of tonight and a little bit of tomorrow morning. Yeah, that's going to make roads quite tricky once again for the morning commute. We had obviously widespread school closings Tuesday, widespread school closings today. It does appear we have
quite a few
tomorrow.
Dozens for sure.
Not as many as what we've seen so far. We're at about 50 school closings. Most of those are situated at the lake shore. But I wouldn't be surprised as tonight goes on, as that snow becomes widespread, you might start seeing more trickle in as the night goes on. For Thursday morning. So we'll see how it goes, but there's definitely already some school closings, upwards, 50, 60 school closings across West Michigan, and we're not even at 9:30 yet. So there's still some time.
More to come, more to come. But definitely still that additional time in the morning for that commute. Whether you're going to work or anywhere else, just some more time factored into everything, because we really still need to be taking it slow as road conditions slowly improve.
And of course, the big reasoning this morning was because of the actual bitter cold. That's why schools closed across the board, on top of the snow that fell over the last couple days. But these are the actual numbers this morning, or at low temperatures since midnight. And 6 below in Grand Rapids, that ties the record low for the 22nd of January. That was set back in 1970. So a 55-year-old record that was tied this morning with 6 below zero. The only exception to sub-zero temperatures was Muskegon to the north, because they had that influence off of the warmer waters of Lake Michigan. Wind chill values this morning were anywhere between 20 to 30 below zero. In fact, in Grand Rapids, at the Ford International Airport, 27 below zero was where we bottomed out in terms of the wind chill. That is in the top 15 for coldest wind chill readings at the Ford International Airport since 1963. The all-time record goes back to 1994. That year, one of the coldest years on record here in Grand Rapids, at least in terms of January. 39 below is the all-time wind chill record.
No thanks.
Yeah, we
weren't
either. We weren't in that ballpark, but still 27 below zero for the wind chill. Quite cold, no doubt about it. We really have improved temperature and wind chill wise. Now it still is cold.
Still cold, but a more normal cold than what the last few days have been.
That's the best way to put it. Temperatures are in the teens. East of US 131 at the lake shore in the 20s, again because of Lake Michigan's influence. The wind chill, mostly single digits now. Usually right around 6 here in Grand Rapids. Even lower 10s is what it feels like at the lake shore. So balmier compared to
serious cold. Still want to be making sure you're bundling up, but we're headed the right direction over the next few days, which is good.
Yeah, and actually as tonight goes on, we're going to continue to see temperatures warm up a little bit out ahead of that cold front, and then we stabilize tomorrow. So we'll be mostly in the lower to middle 20s much of tomorrow, and then we'll remain, or we'll be back down into the lower 10s tomorrow night, into the lower 20s come Friday. So we are going to see this Arctic air mass slowly lift out of the Great Lakes. But again, it's just all about the snow that is really flaring up again, and especially now a lot of this snow, the heaviest of which in parts of Ottawa and Muskegon County, and now even trying to stretch into western Kent County. So I really do think that if you're watching from western Kent County, that's going to be a big pickup over tonight. And we're back to Muskegon Luge.
Those are some big flakes.
Yeah, that's kind of a good switch here.
I know you wanted to talk about that. Earlier this week, we had that really dusty snow that was really kind of blowing in your face if cars were in front of you on the road. Snow has sort of changed a bit to be a little bit denser, I think you were saying, just because of change in temperature and everything.
So when we got that cold a couple days ago, even though we were accumulating snowfall, the snow itself was very fine, and like you said, dust-like, because when you get that cold, you're just losing the support of additional moisture. And from a real technical standpoint, when you look at the atmosphere, when you get that cold, it just doesn't support big fluffy flakes.
It's going to be fine.
And so now that we're a bit warmer, we're adding more moisture, especially with the support of this clipper system. That's allowing for some of these bigger flakes today, and why we've seen a lot more accumulation in just about a 12-hour stretch compared to what we saw from Sunday through last night.
When it's so fine,
When it's so fine. Now, both causes their own issues, because Sunday through Tuesday, last night, Tuesday night, even though the snow was fine, it really made those roads icy. It just is a more gradual pile-up accumulation-wise. But today, the snow is I wouldn't say it's wet and heavy, but it's also
more like that than like what we were seeing.
And that's going to continue through tonight, and that's why it's going to pile up a little quicker compared to the last couple days. But I just want to go back to our Walker Tower camera here. If we can go, there's the look on radar right now. But there's our outside of our studios, and you can just kind of see that, especially on the left side where 96 is, even just compared to 10 minutes ago, it's starting to become more and more
the black on the road is slowly disappearing.
It's starting to fade away, and of course, we're getting close to 9:30, 9:45, less traffic on the roads. But just something that is going to be picking up again is that these varying travel conditions will continue over the course of tonight. See what Muskegon's looking like. There's downtown, obviously a little bit of slower look here. This is the look on Muskegon MDOT cameras, close to that US 31, 96 interchange. Definitely, looks a little treacherous.
If you can stay home, if you can, that's the best bet.
A little treacherous there. Most of us know the drill. It's mid-January, late January now, but still not a fun look to be driving in. And visibility is really starting is becoming reduced.
Especially on the lakeshore,
especially at the lakeshore. Holland down to 3/4 of a mile. Ludington 3/4 of a mile. So up and down the lakeshore, it's coming down at a good clip, and now we're starting to see this spread farther inland towards US 131 now. And again, I think that's going to be the continued theme through this evening and tonight. Again, if you have snowfall reports, you're at the lakeshore, we really
want to hear them.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get my phone here, see what comments we have going on here, but some impressive totals in just a 12-hour span. There they are. Let's see, get this the low. There it is. Whitehall, 10 inches of snow. Shelby, that's Oceana County.
Shelby County, we know that.
I had fat fingers there trying to get this graphic going. Let's see, get my...
But all of that, again, just since this morning, never mind what especially so many of our lakeshore communities have seen just in the last 3-4 days, where it's just been snowing day after day after day. And as Blake was mentioning, if you're in these areas, you're seeing something different, or you're nearby and you're seeing something different, we would love to hear and we'd love to share, just to continue to show, of course, we're all seeing snow, but especially along the lakeshore, tremendous snowfall totals. Again, these are just from this morning, 10 inches. That's crazy.
Just from this morning. See a few comments. I must have misspoke and said continuing in the Wednesday. I don't know what day it is. It's been quite a stretch here in the weather department. We've been working nonstop here for the last 4 days. So apologies for that. Continuing into tomorrow, Thursday. It's tomorrow. It's a day that ends in Y, right?
There you go.
That's how it is.
We're hitting the second half of the week. That's all that matters.
Again, seeing a few things, how much snow has fallen in Whitehall. There it is, 10 inches of snow there. We did have a report in the Twin Lake area today alone of over a foot. In fact, about 14 inches of snow that someone measured from this morning. So really impressive amounts there. And again, this is just continuing as we head into the evening hours. So that's something that we'll really kind of keep an eye on through tonight and into tomorrow morning, because there's going to be still some tricky travel tomorrow morning. The good news is that we will start to see some quiet weather, Julia, towards the
Thank goodness.
end of the
need
week.
it.
Friday looks to be a quiet day across the board. Saturday, a little bit of light snow, and then I think we'll have a few quiet days outside of the wind maybe.
Right.
But at least some snow-free days Sunday into early next week. So there it is, snow starting to become widespread, starting to push inland. We're going to go show this one more time for those that are just joining us here on Facebook Live. Very casual, and about 9:37 right now. And again, you can just see that this is going to kind of pivot inland a little bit over the course of tonight. There you go. Kind of pushes to that northwest snow belts as the cold front comes through, and then we'll see some on and off lake effect bands. Very spotty in nature, but it will still be around throughout tomorrow. Let's go back to Holland. Here's Holland right now.
Some roadway that you can see there.
Yeah, picking up at a good clip. And Holland was one of the spots that really didn't see a lot of snow over the course of today. Actually kind of avoided the bulk of the snow that was just to their north, and now they're starting to see that really pick up down to 3/4 of a mile in downtown Holland.
And just a couple of minor things too. I know it may seem redundant, but always some good tips for folks. We are continuing to see, or rather I should say our law enforcement, continuing to see lots of crashes, slide-offs still. They were more severe at the beginning of the week, but, that could very well continue with the morning commute tomorrow. And just remember, if something, does happen, pulling off to the side of the road, of course, calling 911, even if you're not injured, get that police report, and then stay in your car, just because being outside of your car really is so dangerous. That's what Michigan State Police have told us, staying in your car, and realize that especially if you're not injured, it may take a few minutes longer for police to get to you, just because there's so many crashes right now. Stay in your car, stay put in a safe spot, as pulled over as you can, and just realize that there may be cars pulled off, cars on the side of the roads, cars in ditches. Always feel free to call something in. Doesn't hurt to be redundant if you see someone who may need help, but always just that extra time and that safe distance behind.
And I think it's one of those things too, now that we're going on day 4, day 5 of what seems just to be never-ending impacts in some shape or form. Tomorrow morning, if you're heading out to work, if your kids maybe have school tomorrow, you're taking them to school, you're heading to the bus stop, whatever it may be, just don't let your guard down in terms of how those roads might be.
Even if you're seeing a little bit of black of the pavement, it's very little in most cases, so there's still plenty of opportunity to slide or a wheel to spin out from under you.
By far, and I think that will continue into tomorrow morning because the snow's not ending.
It's gonna take time to clean all that up, and of course, as you've been talking about, it's not over just yet, and salt will hopefully become a little bit more effective as we get more into that high 20s, low 30s.
And that's the case, and I'm kind of broadening the view here, and you can still see that there's our radar here in Grand Rapids, but we still got some support from that Clipper system to go. So as that swings through, like we said earlier, we got the larger scale support from the Clipper, and then our own support on a smaller scale because of Lake Michigan. So, as we push through tonight, that's how we're going to have that combined feature of both the large and small scale, and that's what's going to continue to allow snow to become widespread across all of West Michigan, even for those that haven't seen much. So
Mother Nature said, "Oh, it's been a little too much. I'm not done just yet."
Wendy saying driving up from Chicago tomorrow afternoon, what will be the best route? Let's kind of go back to the model real quick and just showcase her, because we get a good view from Chicago out of our map here. The good news, I think, Wendy, for the most part, is that as we get into tomorrow afternoon, while you might still have to contend with a few lake effect bands, especially as you get back into the state up along US 31, I think most of your drive, Chicago, at least to the state line, will be fine.
Okay, that's good.
It'll just be more you hit those sporadic bands, and really any road that you try to take, whether it's 94, US 31, you're still going to contend with those bands off a northwest wind coming into the state. So just something to keep in mind. But the good news is that it'll become a little bit more spotty in coverage as tomorrow afternoon goes on. So hopefully that will lead to lesser impacts on the roads as tomorrow afternoon goes on. So definitely, from a snow perspective, I really do think, Julia, as we kind of get towards the tail end of this Facebook Live, by tomorrow morning, this might be a little conservative here, through tomorrow morning, but I could easily see a broad 2 to 4 inches of snow. And maybe even some locally higher amounts at our lake shore. And then as tomorrow goes on, pile up a couple more inches off those typical northwest snow belts.
Should be the final big push of snow, though,
Yeah.
before we do get a bit of a break from the snow, that is. So that's good news.
And the other thing that was the case is, I'm going to kind of change this map here, is that the other thing, too, is that we're still contending with the wind, and the wind's been pretty gusty today, and that's been blowing and drifting some of the snow around. It'll still remain breezy into tomorrow, so some of the spots that are more prone to the wind, especially, let's say, east-west roads, because the wind's going to be coming more out of the north and west. So those east-west oriented roads, they might still have some.
That wind,
they might still have some impacts as tomorrow goes on, even as the snow starts to wane in many spots, just because of the breeze. And a lot of the snow, while it's denser compared to what we saw, still pretty powdery.
Yeah.
So.
And a lot of it.
Yeah, and a lot of it. So it'll be blowing and drifting around, and that's just going to be something to keep in mind. But there it is. MDOT cameras around Muskegon, definitely picking up. I'm still seeing it out of our tower camera, seeing our live shot from the weather deck.
It's falling here,
yeah,
for sure.
the flakes are getting big, that's for sure. And that's going to be kind of that theme over the course of this evening into tonight. So, for the most part, I think it's about 9:45 here on this Wednesday evening. Had to think again.
I was going to say.
had to think.
Our weather team's been working too hard.
You had me covered there. There's the weather deck.
You can see the flakes on our camera.
We haven't
there.
been out on the weather deck in a few days, so it's been too cold to be out on the weather deck. So we'll get back out there by tomorrow, I think. But yeah, you can see the flakes are flying. And we have seen no snow here in Walker. We're off of Alpine Avenue and 3 Mile, just to the west of downtown Grand Rapids, and we've seen no snow throughout today. It's been a pretty quiet. We actually had the sun around.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of sun today.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, what's that?
When I was driving in from work, I said, where's my sunglasses at?
That snow is bright.
Meanwhile, at the same time I was saying that, places like Grand Haven, Muskegon were getting dumped on.
Right.
And so
now it's starting to move back in for sure.
But
Kent County.
and that was our expectation earlier, was that the snow was going to start to spread inland. And I'm actually going to show one more thing here, because this is kind of important too. This is from the National Weather Service. The winter storm warning is continuing for Ottawa County northward, Muskegon, Newaygo, Oceana, Mason, and Lake through tomorrow morning at 10. So another 12 hours of that warning. And then the winter weather advisory, Mecosta, Kent, Allegan, and Van Buren County. They didn't include Montcalm County into that advisory, but I could see the far western edge, along 31 between Kent and Mecosta County, also impacted somewhat as that snow spreads inland. That winter weather advisory also goes until 10 in the morning. That's
well through the commute there.
And the reasoning behind that is because of that, the snow becoming a bit more widespread, spreading inland as the cold front sweeps through over the course of tonight. So that's why they added those counties in purple to the alerts, just an advisory. The warning is Ottawa County to the north. So wide range of things been going on this week. The good news is that the bitter cold is now peeling out of here.
Peeling out, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
we are
goodness.
done with the core of the coldest air by far. And, as we go into tomorrow, Friday, we'll kind of stabilize in the way of
Not
temperature.
warm, but more
It ain't
typical.
gonna be warm. It ain't gonna be warm. And
It'll feel warm.
And the good thing too.
Comparison.
And the good thing too is, we head towards the end of the week and into the weekend. For those that want to enjoy all of this snow and stuff.
It'll be better. Not so dangerous like it was earlier.
Exactly.
This
We're not going to
week.
be talking about wind chill values that's going to cause frostbite within 30 minutes.
More typical winter temps.
Late January temperatures. You'll be able to enjoy it. I guarantee you all those winter spots are going to be packed this weekend, so be prepared for that.
Luge is going to be a busy place.
Is going to be busy.
Look at that snow. Wow.
Yeah, so you can see how it's coming in burst. And that's been the case all day long there. Again, you have any snowfall reports, send a message, send a comment, 616-559-1310. We'll get that for you. And kind of go from
Pictures
there.
too. We always love pictures
Always
or
love
videos.
pictures, yep. Always love that as well. So again, a lot of those winter activities this weekend.
They're working out there right now too.
Oh
See the
yeah,
plows
this
going?
is their prime time. Good people out there. So this is their prime time, and happy for them because
They were waiting.
The last
They were
few
waiting
winters
for
have been
some good snow.
last few winters have been very disappointing and very hard on those that rely on winter weather. And finally, we're getting a good stretch of it this winter. So that's always good news. So that's all I got.
Yeah.
We're gonna be back at 11.
Back at 11, we'll have everything for you. We're looking at a couple of different impacts of the continuing weather, impact on restaurants. So we'll have, and of course,
more weather here.
Blake will be here still. So we'll have everything for you. And then, of course, still on 13yourside.com and 13 Plus and our 13 phone app, everything just to keep you covered. Of course, our closings page as we continue to see, still several more for tomorrow. We will keep you covered. But yeah, we'll be back here at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
This has been a 13 Weather Impact Alert.